Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome back. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Today I am going to be talking about my VertPlanter. I have had these plants mounted on here for about 6 weeks, so I thought I would give you some updates on how they are actually growing. This planter came with a lot of promises, and I would just like to let you guys know what is actually going on. If you would like to see how I mounted these plants onto this VertPlanter, I have a video of the whole process. I will link it down below. This is called a VertPlanter. The idea is that it's kind of a mixture between hydroponics and traditional growing, but you get to see the roots on the outside. This is a terracotta vessel that is filled with water. And the idea is that the water will seep through the terracotta and the plants will sort of root themselves onto the planter, and it will be an interesting process to watch them grow. It is fun to watch the roots develop. That's the idea. And like I said, I've had this growing for about 6 weeks, so I think it's time to show you all how is it working, how is it actually doing. I'm gonna go grab my macro lens so that we can see things really up close. I'll be right back. All right, so let's start off by talking about the Hoyas. I have a Hoya kerrii on here and a Hoya Chelsea. And to be honest, they both still look really healthy. The leaves look plump. They don't look dehydrated or anything like that at all, which is something I kind of worried about. I thought there would be sort of a transition period where the leaves might drop or just look not as happy. I haven't noticed any new growth points developing. However, as you know, my Hoya kerrii is very, very slow growing, and my Hoya Chelsea is, I would say, like medium slow growing. So I would not expect any new leaves to have developed within 6 weeks. However, I have noticed some new roots. If we look here, there is a new little root coming out here, and this new root has actually attached itself to the planter, which is really, really cool. So I would say in 6 weeks, for there already to be significant root growth like that, especially with these Hoyas that are so slow growing, I find that really exciting. And I am hoping to see more roots very soon. These roots look really happy and look like they're about to sort of branch out and attach themselves. I've found that the moss has really helped in just keeping the roots moist. They are kind of rooting into the moss as well as into the terracotta medium, which is really, really cool. That was my plan as I was mounting these on here. I haven't had to mist the planter at all. I know some people were saying they had to mist it to keep it moist. That hasn't been an issue at all. I've just been keeping the vessel at least half full, and then the water is just seeping through the terracotta. I will say that the moss is almost constantly moist. So maybe if you are finding that your plants are not staying moist enough, adding a little bit more moss would help, because the moss is definitely always absorbing moisture and making that available to the plants. If we look here, there's another root that is attaching itself to the planter, which is really, really cool. The texture of the planter, like this triangle pattern, is supposed to make plants root more easily to it and attach themselves more readily. We'll see. Now, I have noticed that because this is terracotta, there is some mineral deposits that are showing. There is like a little bit of algae that is showing up, and that is a little bit unsightly. It's kind of an aesthetic issue. I have rinsed this off a few times. I've also just gone in and like wiped it off. These little bits of minerals and all that, even mold, it's not necessarily going to damage your plants, but it doesn't look that great. Now, honestly, my terracotta pots get similar mineral deposits. You can scrub it off, you can rinse it. It's not the end of the world, but it is something to think about. And I guess once this planter is all covered with plants, it won't really be an issue because you won't be able to see the terracotta. But it is something to think about if that really bothers you, and maybe you avoid terracotta pots because you really hate this mineral deposit. That is definitely something that will show up on your planter. See here, there's even a little bit of mold, it looks like, or mildew. But again, you can just wipe it off, get rid of it if it bothers you. Now on the other side of the planter, the side opposite to the Hoyas, I attached a Philodendron melanochrysum cutting that I had. And this cutting was already in rough shape. You can see these leaves are not in great shape. They were like that before I attached them to the planter. That's why I kind of risked it all and attached it on here. However, the Philodendron melanochrysum is doing amazing. We can see that there is a new growth point here. And this leaf also appeared after attaching the melanochrysum to the planter. So looks like this leaf is going to emerge pretty soon, which is really exciting. There's a little root attaching itself. I really wasn't expecting the melanochrysum to thrive in this atmosphere. It was more of an experiment. But I'm really glad that I tried it because it shows that philodendron actually really enjoy this type of growing. And it's really exciting. And now I'm considering if I have another sort of small-ish philodendron cutting that I could attach. I was thinking maybe a cutting of a philodendron brandy because it will stay smaller. Now this terracotta vessel sits in this plastic tray. This comes with the planter. And the idea is that this tray will catch all of the excess water if there is any. And I have found that I've had to empty this a few times, not like every day, but maybe once a week. Just as the water seeps through, it does collect here. I don't think that it would actually overflow. I don't think that would happen. It hasn't happened, but I've just emptied it just in case because I don't want it to overflow all over my plant shelf. So it is something to keep an eye on. If you find that it is getting really full, you will have to empty it. I found that keeping the reservoir totally full is kind of difficult. You would have to be watering it basically every day, at least in my climate. So I kind of keep it half full. That way also the reservoir down here, you don't have to empty as much. So I usually water it about to here, and then the water kind of fills in all of the walls, and that seems to be working for me. I do find that the water sometimes is a little bit murky, and I sometimes dump it out, clean out the inside, and put in fresh water. I don't know that the water has to be totally clear for your plants to be healthy. It's just kind of my personal preference. You can see there's quite a bit of mineral build up in here as well. And you can see that the water is about half full in there. Filling the vessel is actually a really fun little plant chore, and I like to take a minute to just check on any plant updates, look for any roots, any new growth points. It's really fun, and it's not like if you miss a day or the vessel gets dry that your plants will instantly die. It is just something that you need to remember to do every once in a while. All right, friends, that is all from me for today. Hopefully you enjoyed those updates. I am loving the VertPlanter. If you're interested in getting your own, I've linked it below if you want to try it. But overall, yeah, I think it's a really fun way to experiment, a fun way to display your plants, a fun way to watch your plants grow. I think it's great. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in my next video. Bye.